Welcome back to another episode of The Gold Room. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today we're lucky enough to have Erik Koops from Mayo Hardware. He's coming in to talk to us about Masterlock. Erik, thank you very much for coming in, mate.
Thank you very much for having me. Very exciting.
Not a problem. Mate, Wayno, thank you very much for coming in again, mate. Also, thank you for bringing in some signage for the studio. That's pretty awesome.
Couple of stories behind those signs.
Beautiful, mate. We'll get those out here before the end of the show, no doubt. Mate, what we do with every person that comes on, we like to know the life and the times. Hit us with the life and the times of Erik Koops.
Life and the times of Erik Koops. So I was born in the Netherlands. Got a younger brother, older sister. Lived there for the first 30 years of my life and then moved to Australia. So obviously me being from the Netherlands is slightly different climate to Australia. So my hobbies were slightly different to what you would expect here. I didn't play AFL, I didn't play cricket or anything like that.
Bit colder over there.
A lot colder.
It sure is. I played soccer for the first few years when I was young, and then ended up having a bit of a talent for speed skating.
Really?
So yeah.
How much for talent?
Well, I went quite far actually, because I made it to the national team and was national champion for a couple of years in a row in my age category.
Yep.
And then as a very young fellow, I was only 15. I went to a World Cup. A few months later, I went to the World Championship for Juniors in Seoul in South Korea.
Pulled out of Stephen Bradbury's on us.
Yeah, well, actually,
Do you know Stephen Bradbury?
Funny enough, in the World Cup I went to, I actually competed against Stephen Bradbury, which is now I live in Australia. It's my claim to fame.
Wow,
he did beat me, but yeah.
What, did you fall over?
No, I didn't fall over.
He did though, didn't he? He took a couple of people out.
No, not that time.
No, not that time.
No.
In the future?
No. He only won. He didn't only win, but he won because everyone fell over. That's
His claim to fame.
His claim to fame, yeah, and he won gold in the 2002 Olympics.
Wow, mate. So what made you stop?
So it's a bit of a long story, but essentially there's two disciplines in the Netherlands: short track speed skating and long track speed skating. The national team in short track speed skating wasn't as successful as the long track speed skating team. So the association sort of decided to put more money towards long track and less money to short track. So that meant that facilities for us in the national team were just going downhill. And the main thing, what I loved about doing training twice a day, every day, or 3 times a day. Wow. It was a lot of training. But the main reason why I did that was because I loved competing and loved going on training camps to the south of Germany, to Italy, to wherever. That was the things that we did it for, because that's where you can actually get better and compare yourself to the rest of the world and to the rest of Europe. Wow. When that all sort of fell away, I was like, I don't want to train twice a day, because I can compare myself to the guys in the Netherlands that I did pretty much every day. So I decided to go back to solely, I was still at school, but still solely focus on school and do some other things in my life.
Did your parents push you down that road?
My father particularly, he tried to push me really hard to keep ice skating. So he made me finish my season when I actually wanted to quit, which wasn't really great for our relationship.
Yeah.
He tried really hard to, because he knew that I clearly had a bit of a talent there, and they were extremely proud of me. Yeah. So he tried to push me really hard to keep going, but after a while I was a little bit done with it, and I was ready for a next chapter in my life.
Yeah. Far out, mate.
That's
so from
definitely the sea change.
sea change, right? To how do you cope here with the 45-degree days?
It's actually really hot yesterday, and I can't say I struggled, but it was hot. When it gets over 40 degrees, it's hot. But I ended up having a few beers in the pool after work in the afternoon. So with a few
that
mates.
makes
So
life easier.
it was not it was not horrible.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was good.
Definitely acclimatised.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah,
A
100%.
few beers by the
Yep.
pool,
Yeah, that's right.
everyone can deal with that.
Yeah, and when I first moved here, obviously I was a big soccer man and could not get into AFL at all.
What about now? Who's your favourite team?
Mate, West Coast Eagles.
Yeah,
all
that's the
way.
same as me, mate.
100%. I've been secretary of the Kingston Junior Football Club for the last 3 or 4 years. Been on a committee for 5 years now, I think.
Wow, awesome.
So yeah, absolutely live and breathe AFL. Yeah, love it.
Cool,
love
man.
it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What
love
you been to the? Sorry, bro. You been to the? You been to Optus Stadium? Watch a few games?
Yeah, multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally just booked a trip to Victoria for next year in May, going for a long weekend with my kids and watching 5 footy games in one weekend in
Mate.
Geelong and MCG and
Yeah, that'll be
Marvel.
amazing. I've never
Be
been.
awesome.
I've never been to the MCG, but
Neither have I.
lots of my friends have gone. A few friends have seen a number of grand finals. I think that's a bucket list for me to be able to
yes.
go to the
Yeah.
MCG and
One
watch
day.
a Grandy.
Oh, when I go to the grand final, it has to be Eagles though.
Yeah, you might wait a little bit.
A couple of years.
Look, yeah, a couple of years. They're on the build, mate. They're on the build.
Absolutely, 100%.
Do you still follow a little bit of soccer?
Nah.
No?
that was
Drop down.
a hard no.
I follow the Facebook page of my local team that I've always supported, and they're going really well. Actually, they're always like sort of mid-range in the league. Always, like every single year. They're never the top, they're never the bottom. But at the moment, I think they're number 2 on the ladder. So yeah, very proud of them. That's all I follow because I literally with the time difference as well, and it's not broadcast on the TV here. I just can't be bothered. It's too hard.
And that's what happened with me and rugby, mate. You know, so I was growing up in New Zealand. I was bloody keen to watch sitting down with the family, watching the rugby games.
Yeah.
And then because there's no rugby on free-to-air TV, unless it's the Wallabies playing, just fell by the wayside. And then suddenly a bloke I know said to me when I first arrived here, mate, you're gonna have to choose an AFL team. I was just like, okay, well, who are they? West Coast Eagles or Fremantle Dockers? And
then you looked into it.
I looked into it. I was like, what are these guys doing? And I was sold when, mate, we've won a couple of flags, but we've also had the wooden spoon. I was like, far, that's a rags to riches story, you know.
Yeah.
Plus also Benny Cousins. That's a rags to riches story. I was just like, what a dude, what a bloke.
Oh, what a ripper.
Yeah. So
especially how he's come back now.
oh mate, that's
So much
awesome,
respect
mate.
for him.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
Same here.
absolutely.
You know, like I think that's an amazing story. I'd actually love to get him on the show. Not merely to talk about mining, but hopefully he's got someone in the mining industry or something like that, you know.
Mate, knowing you, I'm sure he would love to come on the show. I'll reach out to him.
Yeah. Oh, awesome, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries.
All right, mate. So let's get straight into Masterlock.
Yep.
Tell me and Wayno absolutely everything you can. The importance of brand and brand legacy.
So, especially in the lockout tagout industry, I think there is a lot of products that are a lot cheaper and slightly different, and but you're talking about safety, and I think Masterlock is one of the few brands that actually take that really seriously. Which I think, when you talk about safety, people go, "Oh, what is the chances?" Well, if there is a chance, I think you're doing something wrong, and I think that's why Masterlock, they've got a special system, a registered system for end users, which I think is the only way how to properly do something on site, especially on a mine site, when there is multiple locks going around as well. So yeah, there is a lot of other companies in the industry that do things slightly differently and for a slightly different price. But yeah, I think that's how Masterlock really stands out from the crowd.
Yep. So what about permit systems? And you know, like you've got on mine sites, you've got different lock boxes, different permit systems. Do you know much about that?
I do and I don't. I know what permit systems are. I know recently it had a lot to do with e-permit to work systems as well, which we're sort of integrating locks and RFID tags and stuff in with. But I've never worked with a permit. Like I know what they do, what they don't. But I've never worked with a system like that as such.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm still sort of wrapping my head around that.
Look, I think even a lot of people on my sites are wrapping their head around that, mate.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah, so you're not alone.
Yeah.
Mate, how long's Mayo Hardware been the exclusive distributor of Masterlock?
Interesting question. So over 100 years now.
Mayo Hardware.
Yep. For Mayo Hardware to have the exclusive distributorship in Australia.
Wow, congratulations.
So, yeah, thank you. So, Mayo Hardware is owned by Sarah and James Mayo, brother and sister. Their grandfather started the business, and he went to America back in the day. I think it was, should know this, I think 1908 or something around there. He just went to, I think, go to a trade show just to see if he could find some products he could bring into Australia.
Yep.
On the train going somewhere, he got to meet with the guy who owned and started Masterlock. They started talking. He was actually on his way to the patents office to get the patents on like a certain padlock. The first padlock that Masterlock came out with. They got chatting, loved each other, got along really well, and they pretty much had a handshake. If that patent is a success and you want to flock some in Australia, let me know.
Wicked.
And yeah, and I think until 15 years ago, it was just based on a handshake. Yeah. And it's one of our...
That's mining.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, and it's one of Mayo Hardware's biggest products. So it's, yeah, you're talking about big contracts. Yeah. And yeah, since I think it was only 15 years ago that they put pen to paper and said, well, we should probably have like an actual written contract here. Yep. But yeah, it's a great story.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So where's Masterlock manufactured now?
So Masterlock head office is in the States, but the safety locks are all manufactured in Mexico, and sort of some of the security padlocks they manufactured in China, I believe, but I think they're still also manufactured in America.
Yep. Right.
Yeah.
Mate, could you elaborate on typical applications of the Masterlock products?
Typical applications. A typical application is any sort of machine that has power, a power source. When that gets serviced or when it's out of service, whatever, it needs to be isolated. So it could literally be from a big truck on a mine site, or that has broken down or is unsafe to be operated at the moment, to just a tiny little switchboard that supplies power to...
A little circuit breaker.
Yeah, a little circuit breaker supplies power to a machine or to anything. There's not many things that can't be isolated.
That's right. What about critical machinery in the mining industry? Have you do you know any applications where your Masterlock product has been used?
Absolutely. Pretty much any critical machinery on a mine site will have a purpose for a Masterlock, any Masterlock isolation.
Yeah, okay.
So what's the key differences between like a safety lock and a security lock? And what's the distinction between them? The importance of the distinction.
Yeah, so a security lock is designed to keep someone from getting into something, like to not steal something. A safety padlock is completely different. A safety padlock, so the Masterlock safety padlock is actually made out of plastic. You go lock out of plastic. It's actually not that easy to break, but people think that. But the main reason for it to be plastic is there is a lot of different colours available in isolation padlocks, and that's just to suit a complete isolation program on a site. So, for example, the red padlock is usually, not always, but usually the personal padlock. But that's the main reason. With Masterlock as well, because it is plastic, we can engrave whatever information is needed on that padlock on the actual padlock. So it's a lot clearer, safer. That's the main difference.
Yep.
Mate, with in regards to Masterlock and its competitors, what sets Masterlock products aside from your competitors?
The Masterlock safety padlock is one of the few safety padlocks that's actually designed to be a safety padlock. The biggest thing that, in my perspective, that sets us aside is we've got over 200,000 different keys.
Wow.
Which, if you talk about a safety system, and this is what I mentioned before, people go, what is the chance that we get 100,000 locks on site? What is the chance that my key can open your lock? If there is a chance, however big that chance is, I think there is something wrong with your safety system. Because what if that happens and I de-isolate something that you're working on and you die the next day?
Critical
Or
piece
that
of
day.
equipment.
That is, it's a very dangerous situation. Masterlock has got over 200,000 different keys. So even if you buy locks off the shelf without a registered system, the chance is very, very minimal. But Masterlock is the only manufacturer who provides a registered system for free. So if you would be mine site X, you can open a registered system with Masterlock, and every key or every padlock and every key number that goes to your site gets registered, so you'll never, ever have a key duplicate on site.
That's fantastic. That's bloody fantastic.
I think that's how it should be.
Of course.
Yep.
Yeah. Safety's paramount.
Absolutely.
So no one speaks more about safety than the mining industry.
100%. We were. I was sitting in Kalgoorlie 2 weeks ago, speaking to a few miners, as you do there, having a few beers.
Yeah.
And we're talking about because they had the big parade that I can't remember.
St. Barbara's
St.
Day.
That's the one. And I'd never heard of it, and he explained to me what it's all about.
Amazing,
And
isn't
then-
it?
Yeah.
Those big
yeah.
dumpies coming down the main street.
Yeah.
It's
But it's
something
to remember the people who've passed away in a sense. And
Yes.
then we were talking about, we haven't really had anyone this year. I was like, yes, we have.
Yeah.
Actually been a couple this year in just the goldfields. So it just shows. And I don't think those particular incidents could have been safe with an isolation lock. But yeah, it's just, you talk about lives. So I think that the chances needs to be as small as they could possibly be.
Yep. Talk about trying to get to zero.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
At all costs.
At all costs. Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. And that's why Masterlock keeps inventing in different products that can isolate different things. So on the mine side, as you probably well know, you've got so many different valves and so many different switchboards and circuit breakers, and Masterlock keep not just inventing the products that can fit specific things to isolate, but also they make it easier and easier to isolate, to take away that reason why not to isolate.
Yep.
Because people are sometimes a little bit lazy. From
I think it might be, I don't know about lazy, more complacency. When you've been doing the same task over and over and over again, it becomes...
Nothing's ever happened before, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the easier you make it to isolate something, the bigger the chance is that someone would actually do it.
That's correct.
Yep.
100% correct.
Yeah.
Are there specific locks designed for unique applications?
Absolutely.
So how does Masterlock cater to that?
Absolutely. So on the...
Good question, Wayno.
Yeah, it is a good question. So our standard padlock is called the 410, and the 410 comes in multiple colours. That's just our basic standard padlock. Can be used pretty much anywhere, especially in the gold processing or in the gold mining. There is a lot of chemicals that are being used, and those chemicals are getting more and more harsh every day. So we've got another padlock, which is the S31. Comes in all the colours as well. But what the S31 has got differently, it's got a stainless steel shackle, and it's got a sleeve on the top and the bottom. So when it gets left out on site for a bit longer, like during a shut, for example, when I do longer maintenance, it just protects the inside of the
Reduces corrosion.
Yeah,
Yep.
of the lock. Because even though the body of the lock is plastic, so they can't rust, but inside, of course, the cylinder is still brass and there's steel parts inside. So you want to make sure that that's protected as well. And then we've got a lock, which is the 406. Comes in the same range of colours. It's got a plastic shackle.
Yeah.
US is Sparky. Josh, what do you reckon it's for?
Mate, that's because it's non-conductive.
Correct. Yep.
Beautiful.
Yep. So, and then there is one other one which you don't sell a lot of, but it's the 410, the standard padlock. It's got a longer body. You see it, it looks a bit silly, but if there is a reason to have more engraving, more information engraved on a lock for specific reasons, that's what that lock is designed for.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
In-house laser engraving. You did mention it before.
Yep.
Go into that. So what would happen? A mine site or a mining company, say, reaches out to their supplier and says, listen, this is what we want to have on our locks. What's the process? Run me through it.
I think engraving is a very, very good extra service that we provide. More and more, engraving costs absolutely nothing. Like there's not much cost to it. And more when I go to site and I speak about it and go, oh, no, we don't really need that. Like that's an extra. We don't really. I said, listen, hear me out. What if you put your logo on the front of your lock? And I go, oh, why would I do that? Well, how many times do you get contractors on site, and how many times does that lock just disappear in the pocket of that contractor and it never comes back?
Yep.
Not purposefully, but sometimes it is. If that lock has your logo on it, I think it just a little bit more ownership to that site. So
a little bit more of a deterrent.
Yes, exactly. Another one is the key number. There is sometimes you've got a lot of big sets for group isolation. So say 100 locks all key to the same key. If you put that the key number and say lock 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 100 or 55 out of 100, if then a few locks go missing or they break or whatever, you can just go to Mayo Hardware and you say, hey, can I lock key to that in that colour, key to that key, and with that engraving on it, and then your set's complete again. Rather than getting the whole set, chuck it in the bin, buy a whole new set. I think it's a good benefit.
You know what my experience with mining companies is that I don't think they know that.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And that's why they throw it in the bin and to buy a new set.
I've seen buckets, 20-litre buckets of locks, and some mining companies say, and it's once again, it's trying to get to zero injuries, and I believe that's why they do it, where they throw their locks out after every shut, all locks.
Yep.
You know, that's surely, so on some sites that'd be cost prohibitive. Smaller mining operations, they wouldn't want to be doing that. So I think that's something very important.
Especially in 2024, what's everyone talking about these days?
Sustainability.
It's not sustainable.
Not
if you don't have to chuck it in the bin, don't do it.
Yeah, that's right.
Just order what you need and get it.
So it'd be as easy as a register, easy as a lock register, which most sites have, and then knock one off, reorder another batch.
Yeah, and we can, as Masterlock and as Mayo Hardware, we can do that.
Well, that's bloody awesome. How do you add value to the Masterlock customers beyond that initial sale?
Yeah. So at Mayo Hardware, we've taken a slightly different approach with Masterlock and some other products that we do. And we've got a program called SafeSite. SafeSite, we sort of use that as a brand name as such. And what we do with SafeSite is we want to go... Isolation locks is a very specific item. So we want to go to site and actually find out... we can show the customer what we can do, what our whole program is about, what we do, and then what we find out on site is what's being used, what is needed on site, what's missing on site, and then we can make a program with a presentation. This is what we think you need. This is what worked well because of these reasons, and then implement that. And on top of that, we go back to train the people on site how to use it. I can give you a lock to go isolate something. If you've got no idea what that lock or that hasp or that accessory is for, there's absolutely no point in giving you that lock or that piece of equipment. So I think the training part, and then also we do health checks. We like to go back a year later, 2 years later, 3 years later. Hey, how you going? What's changed on site? What do we need? What have you lost in the meantime? What's good? What's not good? And to keep that contact with the end user, but also make sure that they always have the latest equipment and they're always fully stocked with what they need.
Yeah, that's great. That's a bloody good additional service.
Yeah.
Some suppliers don't do that.
No, and I think most suppliers don't do that. And
Shifting boxes.
Absolutely, yeah. And especially with safety equipment, I don't think that's the right way to go about it.
Yep.
There is a lot of training to be provided as well. And I know on sites they provide basic training on why you need to isolate and how you need to isolate. But often those safety advisors, they also don't know, or permit to work people, they also don't know how certain things work. So that's why we go to site and we do those training sessions.
Yep, for sure.
Yeah. I think that's great added value that Mayo Hardware provides.
Yep.
So what's up next for Masterlock in terms of innovation?
So because Masterlock worldwide, I think, was one of the largest supplier in isolation equipment, they always work on innovation. So if you look over the years where isolating started and where it is now, and all the steps in between, it's gone from just a tag to a tag and a lock with all the permit to work, everything in between. Currently, I'm working on with one of the larger iron ore miners in the Pilbara. We're working on a whole RFID tag system. So where workers, they need to isolate something, they can go with their device, whether it's the phone or an iPad, what they use on site. They can go and scan that RFID, just tap it and it just comes up on your screen what you're actually isolating, why you're isolating it, how it should be isolated, all of that. The whole permit just comes up. Yeah. The next step is getting an RFID tag on the face of the lock. So when they go out in the field, they go and isolate something, then there's an RFID tag on that piece of equipment they're going to isolate, and then they can tap that, and then they can cross-reference with what they scanned before inside, and then with the RFID on the lock as well, they can then sort of link that to that isolation. So that's all. It's all about getting those chances down to zero. And there is a system called IntelliPermit system that's been used on that site. And that all integrates with that system. So it's, innovation-wise, they keep going. There's a lot more Bluetooth connected locks coming as well.
I did see some information on those.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's really, really cool. And they're still developing in that as well, because they've originally brought it out as security locks, and now that's coming into the safety space as well. Yep. So, yeah, innovation-wise, it just keeps going and it just gets more and more awesome.
So that RFID lock, that'd be anybody could walk up to it, just sort of scan it and see what's going on in that area as well.
Yep.
Not just the people that actually put it on, but people that walk up to the area can actually sign on to that permit to work.
That's correct.
Yep.
Well, that's crazy advances in technology, isn't it?
It is. It's awesome to work on as well, because especially this mine site, the particular person I'm dealing with, he's done this for years and years, and I learned so much of him, and just his enthusiasm for to get that chance of someone getting hurt, getting down to zero. His enthusiasm for that is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it's contagious, isn't it?
It is. It's very contagious.
Yeah,
100%.
Awesome. Mate, issues getting onto a mine site.
They're probably one of the toughest issues I face in my role. Obviously, I'm in sales, and I want to get out to mine sites and in front of those people. because I'm in sales, they're not always looking forward to seeing someone out there, because there is millions of people knocking on their door, and they're there to do a job. They fly in, fly out. So first of all, you're dealing with usually two groups of people. A mine site is not somewhere where you just knock on a door, you walk in and you say, hello, here I am. Do you have 5 minutes to talk to me? Usually there is inductions involved. There is everything involved. I go to the gold fields every 4 to 6 weeks for a week. So you got to sort of line that up with the people's shifts as well. And then when you finally get in, like you finally find the right person to actually get hold of him or her, actually making them convinced that I'm not there just to sell something, but especially with Masterlock and another product that we do, we're actually there to advise as well and find out more information and actually try to help them. That's what I find the most important part of my job, is you can actually help people. Of course, I need to sell something as well.
Got to pay the bills.
But if I do my job correctly, I think it's a very easy sell, because my products are needed on site and they can actually save lives and they can save people. So, but yeah, just to find the right people and to get in contact with them, and then also try to convince them that they should see me.
Yep.
That's probably one of the hardest things of my role.
Well, Erik, mate, thanks very much for taking the time to come in and speak with us. I know that next week or in a few days' time, you're going to be coming back to run us through another product of Mayo Hardware. So really looking forward to that. Wayne, thanks very much for coming up from Esperance, mate.
No
Much
worries,
appreciated.
mate. Yep.
Mate, thank you so much for having me. It's
Mate,
been
not a
absolutely fantastic.
Not a problem. And you've actually got something, a couple of giveaways for our viewers.
Absolutely. So if you get in contact with Josh, I'm happy to give away some of these products. Or if you in desperate need for something else, let Josh know and we'll work something out. I'm sure we can do that.
Yeah, mate. Thanks very much. Yeah, that's really important. Something that we are passionate about doing. We want to make sure that we're giving back to the mining industry. I think an industry that's been taken advantage of for a long, long time. That's what this Gold Room's about, is trying to put a bit more information into the hands of the mining industry and trying to do the right thing.
Absolutely, and then Mayo Hardware's there always to support you on that.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks very much.
No worries.
Cheers. Hey, listen, well, thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of The Gold Room. Fantastic to have me mate Wayno back and spend some time with Erik. Don't forget, like, subscribe, comment, and see you next time.